Hello, guys of United Rock Nations. We are in amazing company with John Fred of Blackstone Cherry. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great, Mark. How are you doing?
Very well, also here in France. And we are here, of course, to talk about the new album, Screaming at the Sky. So, what is your feeling about this new album?
Well, I'm super proud of it. I know Chris, Ben, and Steve are too. Um, we're just excited for everybody to be able to hear it. And, it comes out September the 29th this
Yeah.
month. So we're close to the almost getting there. Uh, yeah, we worked really hard on this one. So we started recording back last summer, and we did the album, uh, the recording in two different sessions because we had tour dates. So we had to do half the record in the summertime, and then we did half the record in the winter, and that was a first. But yeah, it's a lot of great songs, and we're super proud of it.
So, you have now a new bass player. John left the band 2 years ago, and then you have Steve, the new bass player. Tell us more about the departure of John and the Steve arrival.
So we're really like Steve. We've known Steve for gosh, probably over 20 years.
Ah,
Close to.
okay.
So Steve is from Hart County, and if you look at like where we all live, Chris and I live in Edmonton, and Ben is from Glasgow. So two different counties right next to each other, and then Hart County is right next to us. And Steve grew up. I mean, he started playing drums when he was probably 6 or 7 years old, and he moved on to play guitar and had a he they had a really awesome blues rock band called Otis, and all those guys in that band were from around home too, grew up with us, and uh, they were doing a lot of shows, and yeah, man, he just like it's been crazy because like it's on stage, he's him and Ben both, like, Ben's like he's like a wild animal, and with Steve too, like now we have like two tornadoes going back and forth on stage, and Steve is such a incredible musician. I mean, he's just an amazing guitar player, but him on bass is really cool because him being a drummer growing up, he understands rhythm like very, very well. And it's nice because, we'll do stuff together, and we'll be watching each other on stage and stuff, and he'll go into a part, and if we're jamming or something, so we'll like kind of like read each other's minds on that level. But Steve's such a great person, probably the funniest guy on our bus now. I used to hold that. He kind of challenges me on the comedy card. No, we love him to death. Couldn't have asked for a better person in the world to be in the band. And obviously, first, the record, first time writing with Steve, and that was really cool. He's a great writer, got a lot of great ideas, and really knowledgeable about parts. So yeah, we're really, really blessed, man.
And the departure of John,
I do what now?
the departure of John. Why
Yeah,
he
yeah.
left
So
the
he
band?
just wanted to stay home, man. Just life changes.
Mm. So the new album, Screaming at the Sky, was recorded in an older theater, I think. Tell us more
Yeah.
about that choice.
You know what? It's wild because so every 2 years we do these really cool Christmas shows that we do in our old theater back in Glasgow, Kentucky. And the place is called the Plaza Theater. And it was probably built in I'd say early 20s, mid 20s, and they did a lot of restoration on it. So we started doing these, biannual Christmas shows, and we get to give back to the community, and it's a great cause, and like it's nice too because if we play like in Nashville, which is always great, or Louisville, that's kind of the closest we play around home. So all our hometown folks get to come and like be a part of it. It's got the Christmas vibes too. So, but we were looking for a place to record drums,
Mhm.
and it was mentioned, and we were hanging out, and somebody was like, "Man, what if we do the Plaza Theater? But take all the gear over there and just see what it sounds like." And we were like, "You know what? Let's try it. Let's give it a go." Loaded all our gear up, we made a makeshift recording spot in the basement, and just ran all the cables upstage. So we set the drums on the sound stage, and it turned out wonderful. I mean, one of the best, like just awesome drum sounds. And so we did that. Like I was saying, we had tour dates. So we had a summertime session, and we did probably 7 or 8 songs, and then we went back to my house. I've got 2 little bedrooms that we used and just did vocals and guitars and bass. And yeah, man, went back in December when it was cold. It was funny because we had ice all over the like the concrete stairs going down to the basement where we loaded gear in. So we had to put like pallets down, and like it was crazy because the steps were iced over in the wintertime. But yeah, we really we got lucky, you know, thinking to do that there, because the sound is just so amazing. And our great buddy Jordan Westfall, who engineered and mixed the last record for us, The Human Condition, he did this one too, and just had a great time with it, man. Got some awesome drum sounds, killer guitar and bass sounds, and of course Chris, you know, he sang, you know, he does his magical thing. He does, man. He gets in there and, you know, lets it rip, and just really proud of all the playing and also the songwriting on the record too.
Absolutely. It's great sound, of course. The sound, the record sounds very well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We know that the lyrics are more important on this new album than the previous one. What are the main topics you talk about on the new songs?
Well, I think, you know, the whole world, man, went through, you know, all 2020, and that was it was just so hard and different for everybody, especially like I think in our case, you know, being musicians, going out on the road, touring, and that's what we've been doing for, you know, 20 plus years. And then just to have to sit at home, it was different, you know. I mean, obviously we had a lot of great time with our families being home.
Absolutely.
But it was definitely different. So I mean, that was, I think, some of those you know, songs were inspired by our time of not being able to play music, you know. And I think it taught us too, like, never to, you know, ever kind of take it for granted. We don't take it for granted, but it's like, wow, you know, we never thought it could just kind of like go away that quick, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of great songs on the album. I mean, I think there's a lot of there's songs for everybody on there, you know, and I think that everybody can kind of relate too, because I think we've always, our lyric writing has always been, you know, taking you know, we've got party songs, we've got some ballads, and we've got a lot of songs about hope, but there's a lot of songs that, you know, we take like a negative situation and always try to make it a positive situation. So we've always had that mindset when we're writing.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some songs of the album. I selected 2 songs that I want to talk about.
Okay.
We love so much The Mess You Made. There's an amazing bass riff on it. Tell us more about that song.
Yeah, The Mess You Made is an awesome rocker. I mean, that's probably, I think when we get to play that live, that'll be great. Yeah, like I said, the lyrics just come from, you know, anybody that can relate. Like if you're in a, you know, negative situation, it turns into something that you can make it positive. I think that I was trying to think when we started writing. That may have been a sound check riff, maybe over the summertime. And I think because there was a couple songs that we wrote, we had the riffs at sound check, and then we go on the back of the bus and bring out the laptop and start, you know, Chris and Ben and Steve and start putting, you know, like scratch guitar tracks and bass stuff. And yeah, that was a good one, man. Yeah, I mean, for me too, a lot of these songs that we write, I know like Chris and Ben and Steve will say the same thing. They can mean each, because all 4 of us, right, we have a different, you know, viewpoint of where we're coming from, because we're putting in, it's not just one guy writing the songs or 2. But I like it when fans get a hold of our songs and they're like, hey, this song meant this to me, you know, and the interpretation of a fan getting that and then coming up to you and they're like, man, this song means this to me because, and you hear so many different stories, right? And that's what's
Absolutely.
really cool. That's what's cool about being a songwriter too, because you can take your story, your kind of, you know, situation or viewpoint, and you put that into a song, and then it's just like, man, like, so there's been songs over the years where, you know, we wrote a song about something and somebody else comes up to you and they're like, man, this song means this to me, and you're like, whoa, I never saw that coming, dude. You know. So but that's music. That's everybody has their own, you know, life journey, and things mean different to different people. So yeah, we're just kind of the I guess what do you call it, the melting pot of ideas for other people to run with, you know.
There's a second song I love a lot. It's Raindrops on a Rose.
Yeah, man.
It's probably the most melodic song of the album.
That's a really really cool song. So that came about. Chris and Jordan, our engineers, started writing that a couple years back, and Chris's dad, Steve, passed away, and Jordan's dad almost. They were in the same year, and we, you know, they started writing that together, and I remember Chris had it on his phone, and I think he was playing it in the back of the bus or something, and we were just like, dude, like, that's an incredible song. And you know, I just remember personally, I was like, man, we need to do that song. We need to do that song for the record, you know. And I think it was for Chris and Jordan, it was more of you know, they wanted to write it because they had both been going through a lot with their dad's passing, and yeah, man, it was kind of a no brainer for me, because I was like, man, that's so personal, and it's a part of, you know, y'all's lives that I really would love for us to be able to you know, put it, you know, work it up and put it on the album. And it came out, and it's probably one of my favorite songs on the record, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the artwork of the cover of the album. It's really amazing.
Thanks,
Who did
man.
it? Who did it?
So there's a guy in England, and his name is Sam, and he is a incredible artist. He does a lot of comic book stuff. Like, he does he actually, I think he even does some stuff for Disney, and just you know, it's one of those things where I think Ben actually uh had found him, and I think he was a fan of our stuff, you know, and we just, you know, reached out to him. Ben reached out to him, and it's like, man, would you be, you know, interested in maybe taking, you know, kind of your take on what the artwork might look like through your eyes, you know. And he nailed it, man. He just, I mean, he sent a couple things back, and all of them were insane. They were awesome. But then we were just like, we saw, you know, the girl with the roots on the back of her head scream. We were like, man, that's got to be it. You know, it had the birds on it. We're just like, lock it up, dude. That's it. So, and I can get you his last name if you. I just cannot remember his last name right now, but his first name's Sam. But yeah, he's a really really great artist.
So let's talk about touring, because we know that in September and October you will play some shows in the UK,
Yeah,
but only in the UK. We are in France. So do you plan to tour Europe next year, and of course to come in France?
I knew I would get some heck for not for not getting over there. No, you know, we used to, yes. Okay, so first off, yes, we're coming to the UK in a couple weeks to do some shows, and we're doing
Exactly.
meet and greets and things, and we're really looking forward to that. But yeah, so we used to, back in the days, we used to come over and do all of Europe. You know, we would obviously come to France, Germany, Italy, Spain, do Scandinavia, and we would tie in the UK with everything in it. It works out to be about 6 weeks, and that's just a little too long for us to be away from our kiddos. So, you know, we got kids now, so we try to break it up and do the UK and then come back and do Europe, or do Europe first and UK last. But yeah, I know, you know, we're always going to come back to Europe, man. There's so many great places to play, and we have a wonderful amount of fans and just great people that have supported us since the beginning. And the last show, let's see, the last show we had in France was in Paris. That would have been fall of last year. It was us and our great friends in the Georgia Thunderbolts, and we did a amazing show. But yeah, love coming to France. I know we'll be back there, before too long. So
on 2024.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So thank you very much for all this information about Screamin At The Sky, the new album. We hope you the best for this album. We love a lot this new album. So
thank you.
And I hope to see you very soon here in France.
Hey, thank you so much. You take care of yourself, Mark.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, John.
Ha ha ha!